Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another cottage kitchen renovation update. So as you can see behind me, it actually kind of looks like a kitchen over here, which is very exciting. The last video I showed you guys, honestly, just like a few weeks ago, the kitchen was down to the studs and there was just like, yeah, it was completely down to the studs. We still had 2x4s everywhere as temporary supports for the walls that we were coming down. I mean, it was a full-blown construction zone. And as you can see behind me, it's like kind of a kitchen. We still have a long way to go as far as completing it. However, like I really didn't post that video that long ago, but in those last few weeks, plus I couldn't really get in here because there were so many different trades in here working because they really got stuff done quickly. It went really well. We also were away. We went to Hawaii on a Young Living trip for I don't know, like 5 days before, like right before we moved. So it was just kind of a busy time. So we are officially moved in now. We've moved in a few days ago, so we're living here now and kind of getting a taste of that like fixer-upper life because there's still a lot to be done in this house, which is fun and interesting and challenging. But I wanted to give you guys a kitchen update to share with you all the things that have happened since I last did that video. Okay, so possibly the biggest and most exciting update is both of the walls are open. If you guys remember when I did this video last, there were 2x4s running all across here and you could kind of see through, but not totally. But now they are both opened up. So that is the dining room over there, and this is the kitchen, and this used to be just two little doorways. They were completely separate rooms, and when we came down here the very first time, I knew that this just had to be made into one space, and I am so happy we did it. It completely transformed this whole downstairs, and it makes it feel more like an eat-in kitchen, but I also like how it's kind of tucked away. It's cozy in there. There's a fireplace with a wood stove, which we still need to get inspected, but I'm really hoping that it's gonna work. But so I just absolutely love how much it's opened it up in here. It just makes the biggest difference. And they were load-bearing walls, so we had to get like permits and all of that, but luckily it went very smoothly. The inspections always went fine, and we were able to just keep kind of chugging along on this major project, which makes hands down the biggest difference in these rooms down here. Okay, so next I wanted to share with you, so basically once the walls were done and you like completely open, the rooms were set, basically the walls were set where they were gonna be. The next was to put in that tile floor, and I shared with you guys in the last video the tile that I chose, and it is in now, and I love it so much. I love it for a few reasons. I really love, I draw a lot of my inspiration for this house, which was built in like early mid 1900s to look like an English cottage. Like they built it to look like an English cottage. So I draw a lot of my inspiration from looking at old English cottages, and most of the time they have some kind of stone floors, whether it's more of like a slate floor or kind of like a, I mean obviously not Pennsylvania, but like if you think of like Pennsylvania, like blue fieldstone or like terracotta floors, something like that. They usually have stone floors. And we knew we were gonna have to do some kind of waterproof flooring down here because it is the bottom floor. And technically it's a basement, even though it's open to the outside. But I knew I landed on tile, we were gonna choose tile. So I really wanted to pick something that looked like stone and kind of mimicked the look, but wasn't actually stone. Like I wanted something that was a lot more budget friendly, and I came across this tile and I really liked it. And I like it even more that it's down. A lot of you guys said on that last video that it's hard to clean. So far I haven't noticed that, but we also haven't lived here very long at all. I'm not the biggest clean freak, to be totally honest with you, so we'll see how it goes, but I guess I can keep you guys updated on that as far as like maintenance and upkeep of the tile. But so far, I love the way that it looks. And so what I decided to do as far as laying it, because you choose tile and then you have to figure out how you're gonna lay it down, if it's depending on the tile that you choose. So I knew I didn't want to do just like a basic simple pattern. I wanted to kind of create more interest on the floor because stone floors especially the ones that I was looking at, they're all different size stone. There's a lot of interest in the floor. So I decided to do like a basket, I think it's called a basket weave pattern. If you Google like tile laying patterns, you'll see there's all different kinds of ways that you can, like herringbone and subway tile or like brick, and then basket weave. So basically there's like 2 on top of each other and then 2 on top of each other like that, and they just get laid that way. And I love the way that it just creates a lot of like movement and interest in the floor. So I'm really happy that I went with that. And then lastly, they really brighten up the space. If you watch the other video, you know that one of my biggest like goals with this renovation was just to bring a lot more light in here. There are windows, there are like window panes on the doors. Like we do have natural light, but it tends to be a darker space. And especially when we first came here, it felt very, very dark because it was also very closed off. So this lighter tile, while it's not white, it's not like glam, it's definitely more of a rustic, almost like a, I didn't want it to look like concrete, and I don't think it does, but it kind of has that kind of like rustic, like just simple vibe to it. It's not glossy, it's not glamorous or anything, which is the opposite of what I wanted. But it does really lighten things up. So I'm so happy with how that turned out. Okay, so the next update I can share with you guys is we have cabinetry and countertops. So I ended up just going with plain white cabinets just to keep it simple and timeless, and also again to brighten up the space. I might eventually up down the line, because I mean I like white cabinets, but I'm also not opposed to like colored cabinets, so I might refinish them down the line. But for now, I just wanted to start with something that was like simple and clean that I could just kind of go off of. So we got white cabinets. We actually got them through, it's called Lillian cabinets, and they're really nice quality. They're all plywood construction, and they look really good, honestly. We don't have hardware on them yet. That still is to come, but I'm just doing unlacquered brass hardware on the cabinets. And then we also have our countertops in. So if you saw our farmhouse kitchen video, you might recognize these because they are the exact same countertops. I loved those so much that I knew I was most likely going to do them again in this house. So they are quartz. So they're very durable. They're, you know, you don't have to worry so much about maintenance or sealing or any of that. And they are a little bit more on the, sorry, this lighting is crazy, a little bit more on the affordable end. But they really do look like marble, and especially up next to the white cabinets, you can see they look more gray. They don't look like white countertops, which I feel like so many of the quartz that, at least that I looked at when I went to look at countertops, they all had a white base, and I just feel like it doesn't look like stone. I mean, I don't know. So at least it doesn't look like marble that I envision in my mind and what I want in my kitchen. I love the look of marble, but I love that this is just more durable, especially with like little kids. And I want them to be in the kitchen, and I don't want to be worried about them spilling something on the counter that I'm gonna feel stressed out about. So at least with quartz, I don't have to worry about that. But I love, love, love the countertops. We also have our sink in, and I went with the exact same sink that we had in the old house too, because I love it so much. It is just a simple white, like fireplace sink, and it is an undermount sink. So it's not a farmhouse sink. It doesn't have like the apron that sticks out in the front. It just kind of drops in, and the, well, I guess you drop it in first. It's not technically a drop-in sink. It is undermount. So it's mounted underneath the counter. I did this for a couple, well, I did this for one main reason, and then I'm especially glad I did it. I'll get to that in a second. So I just like the clean look of the countertops, like coming across the front, and the clean look of cabinets across the front. It's just something that I prefer, and I just like the look of it better than I like a farmhouse sink. But also, so you guys know that we have this window back here, which was kind of an interesting thing to kind of work around, putting cabinets and a sink in front of, which I'll explain more about that. But when our cabinets actually came in, it just ended up being just with measurements, and this used to be a curved window. It was like no one's fault, but it just kind of worked out that the cabinets, like the center of this cabinet is not perfectly aligned on the center of the window. It's off a little bit. It's really not that noticeable, but I was so happy that I did an undermount sink, because if I did have a farmhouse sink, it would have to go in the center of the cabinets, and my farmhouse sink would have been off center to the window, if that makes sense. But since we just did an undermount sink, we could place it wherever we wanted within this 36-inch cabinet. So we were able to just shift the sink over a little bit so that the sink and the faucet could be like lined center with the window, centered on the window. And you don't even really notice that these cabinets are slightly off a little bit. Like, I don't even really notice it, and I know about it, so it's no big deal. But again, if I had done a farmhouse sink, it would have been a little bit off, and it probably would have been a little bit more noticeable. Okay, so speaking of this window here, one thing I think I forgot to mention in the last video was another like structural change that we made. So this used to be a curved, like the walls next to the window were curved, like the plaster was curved. And I do love that look. We have a couple of those windows over there. I had windows like that in my old house, and I love the look of them. I find them so beautiful. But paired next to like 90-degree angle cabinets, it's just kind of, I feel like it's kind of visually awkward, and it's not as like satisfying to look at as like a box window. So we basically built this window out, and instead of continuing the curve, we just built it so it was all nice and square, and I love it. I love it so much. I love the way that it turned out. I actually like it even better than the curve in this room. And we do kind of have that awkward window gap because the window does go lower, but my plan is just to stick some like herb plants in there, and I think it's actually gonna be like a really nice little spot. And with the countertops, I'll show you what I ended up doing, because there was a lot of discussion between our contractor and the countertop guy, and actually no, not the countertop guy, I made that up. Our electrician chimed in at one point, and everybody was like, you need to raise this window. Like, you need to replace the window, you need to raise it up, and it's stone on the outside, so, you know, have some stone put in, have it all reappointed, which is a pretty big project, and wasn't necessarily one that I wanted to take on right now because it was going to slow everything down even more. And then also budget-wise, like, it just wasn't really something that we ever considered doing, so we didn't really want to spring for it. But what I ended up doing, because I was a little bit worried with the sink being right here, I did not want water, just like water falling off the back of the countertop and like collecting in this wood windowsill. Like, that was obviously a concern. And then visually, it's just kind of awkward to have your countertop like go across the window into like just into the abyss, you know? So what we did is, if you can see, there's this little piece of countertop that I just designed with the countertop guy when he was here. I just kind of shared with him what I was thinking, and he came up with it, and I was like, that's perfect. It's just a gentle slope kind of behind the countertop. It's actually not installed yet, so I can probably take it off and show you guys. So this is all it is. It's just a piece of the same countertop that they cut. It has a little slope hill in the middle, and it's perfect because now it's like a little splash guard, except it's actually really pretty, and it almost looks like, here, let me put it back. It looks like an architectural or like design, it looks like a design feature. It looks like it was done on purpose and not because I was afraid of water like running behind the countertop. And I actually love it. I think it's such a beautiful detail. I think it looks so pretty in front of this window. And I had, like, this window was such a headache, and it's one of those things where I had an experience like this designing the old kitchen too, where everybody was telling me to do, like, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. And I was just like, but I kind of want to. Like, I feel like it's gonna be fine. And it is fine, it's fine, and I actually like it better, and I think it's beautiful, and I love that it's right on the window, and I love that I can put herbs down there. And I'm just really excited about it. So that's another update. Okay, another update is our beautiful faucet is now installed. I love it so much. I actually got it off of Etsy, and it's unlacquered brass, and it just has like a very understated, like old world vibe to it, which I love so much. And we did get like the sprayer on the side, which I'm so happy about because I have already used about 1,000,000 times. So that's in. Okay, and then the last thing that's actually completed, because there's still a lot of loose ends to be tied up and work to be done, which I'll give you guys a brief rundown on what that is, but we painted in here. So that was like the last thing that we did. Obviously, we came in and we painted everything, including, have I showed you these yet? I don't think so. The beams, they look so pretty. I love them so much. So we painted everything Benjamin Moore, White Dove, Dove White, I can't remember. And it's just like a classic warm, creamy white color. We actually painted the entire house that color. I don't plan on keeping it all white, like all the time, but we'll kind of add like color and life and maybe some wallpaper as we go, but I just wanted like a clean slate when we moved in, and I love this color. It's just, again, a creamy, warm, simple white, and I love the way that it looks. All of the walls and all of the trim are painted that color, and they're all in, I don't know if it's like totally flat, but it's pretty flat. Like I wanted the trim to just be the exact same thing as the walls, and that's exactly what they did, and I love the way that it turned out, and it brightened it up so much in here. But as you can see, there is still some purple drywall hanging out, and you're probably like, what's going on there? Why didn't they paint that? Because that is all going to be backsplash, and I decided instead of doing tile, I am actually going to do beadboard, which is here. It's probably hopefully going to go up this week, and that will be like the last main thing in here to really bring it all home, bring it all together. So a lot of the drywall is still exposed, but we're gonna be putting beadboard up, and it is gonna go up over top of the range, which I know a lot of people have concerns about, like wood above, you know, a range where you're gonna be cooking and there's like open flames. But I looked into it. There's like some other like bloggers I found online that have done it. And honestly, if you think about it, like people have like butcher block countertops, so you have like wood right next to the range. It's really not like the end of the world. I do have to make sure that I buy like a special paint that's gonna be like heat resistant, which I will do. And you know, if there's like water that gets splashed on there, just make sure to wipe it up. There's a lot of like, you know, a couple little things to consider, but overall, I'm not at all concerned about it. In fact, beadboard was actually used in a lot of English homes and cottages. It was a very popular type of paneling to put in the kitchen. We also have beadboard throughout the house that's already been here, like old beadboard. So I thought that that would just be really beautiful. And it's also very budget friendly, because what I wanted to do was we're beadboarding all the way up, like up into the beams, all around this door, and then behind, like over the window, and then obviously underneath each of the cabinets. So I knew it was gonna be, I knew it was gonna be like a lot of tile, like a decent amount of tile. That's like, I mean, at least I think that's a lot of tile going in. And I knew I wanted to do it like all the way. Like if I was gonna do it, I was gonna do it all the way. So I knew that I liked the look of beadboard, and I also love how budget friendly it is. We actually just got, it's like the MDF sheets of beadboard. As you can see, they're actually hanging out over there above. You can see like above the window, it's like cut off. Those are all the sheets of beadboard laying over there, just ready for their moment to be installed. But we did the MDF sheets, and that's actually, we put a little bit of beadboard in our last house in like the butler's pantry on the wall. We just installed that ourselves, and that's what we used, and it turned out beautifully. So that's what we're using, and that's like the last main cosmetic thing that we have to do, like the last big one that we have to do in the kitchen. Okay, so now let's talk about what's not done yet. I'm just gonna run you through the list. One is we do not have a refrigerator. The refrigerator is gonna go back there in that corner. We literally have a cooler right outside this kitchen door, and that's where we've been storing our food with lots of ice for the past few days, and I am very ready for a refrigerator. It was supposed to be here before we got here, and it got delayed, but it's supposed to come tomorrow. So by the time this video is up, we should have a refrigerator, which will be very nice. We also don't have a dishwasher yet. We have a space here for it in the counters, but we don't have it in yet. It's also supposed to come at the same time as the fridge. So very soon we'll be rocking and rolling with all of our appliances. We do have the Ilve range, which I love so much. And that's it for the main appliances, I think. So still waiting on those. Now, opposite of the fridge, you can see I have this Hutch here that I found. I knew that I wanted to stick a Hutch in that spot mainly for storage, because we do not have a ton of cabinets in this kitchen. Now, behind me in that room it looks like the scene of a horror film right now. It needs some TLC for sure. That is another project that's on the list, but that is going to be a laundry room slash pantry. We're going to have even more cabinetry in there. So eventually we're going to have like oodles of storage. Right now it's a little tight, but with a hutch here, I'm gonna be able to store so much stuff. It'll also be a fun like place for me to like decorate and show off some like pretty bowls and, you know, different like china knickknack things that I love that I've collected. But practically it's mostly for practical storage. But I was looking for an antique. And the only thing I don't like about this is that it's not an antique. It's not old, it's not worn, it's not solid wood, but measurement wise, I literally could not have found something a more perfect fit. So I just grabbed it. It was on Facebook Marketplace. It was cheap and it was also nearby, which is perfect. So even though it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, I feel like it's going to work super well. I might down the line paint it. At the very least, I'll probably update the hardware, but I might paint it too. I don't know, we'll see. I love like the warmth that it brings to this kitchen. I definitely want to like bring in the warm wood tones in here to warm up this kitchen. Like our dining table is all wood. We've got this, and then this table right here, which I'm about to tell you about. Okay, so let me tell you about this table. Hopefully you guys can see it pretty well. So we've had this table for years. We actually got it when we were in our very first house, and we've been using it as a desk forever. And it's just a farm table with really pretty like spun wood legs, with a nice, almost like butcher block top on it. And it's beautiful. And I knew I wanted to try and use it as, I didn't want to do a kitchen island, like a full kitchen island with cabinets, because it's not a huge space. And I felt like if we had a big, like just clunk of cabinets dropped in the middle, it would feel tight, and I didn't want that. I wanted to be open and airy and feel really welcoming. So I was like, I'm just gonna do some kind of island table. And of course I started looking online to try and find something that was already an island or that I could make into an island. And then I was thinking, we already have this table and we have nowhere to put it in the new house. I should just reuse this. So that is exactly what we're doing, and it is perfect, almost. It needs a little bit of work to actually make it into an island. So right now it's just like a regular table. It's at table height, but we're going to raise it up. So I purchased some table leg extenders online. I think total it was maybe like $100. So pretty cheap for like our whole island table. So we're gonna basically just drill these onto the bottom, and these are 6 inches. So it's gonna bring it up pretty much exactly to about 36 inches, which is countertop height, which is exactly what we need. And then I am going to paint the legs. I don't know if you guys can see, but they're like all chippy and half sanded off. Because when we actually got the table years ago, they were like, well, we bought it as a project piece and we started working on it and now we don't need it. So here you go, you can take it. We got it from a neighbor. So I just never did anything with it, but now I want it to look a little bit more sophisticated. So I am going to sand all of that paint down, not the top is staying as is, it's beautiful. And then I'm gonna paint the legs. Haven't decided on a color yet, but I definitely wanna do a color. Also, I forgot to mention for the beadboard, I am going to paint that a different color as well. It's not going to be white. Still deciding on what that's gonna be. I'm gonna do some swatching when it's actually put up. So that's gonna bring some color into the space. The legs here are gonna bring some color into the space. And then if you can see below it, I do have a rug set out underneath of the island table. I found that on, it is like a Turkish low pile rug. So I love that it's low pile because it's not gonna like collect crumbs. It's gonna be super easy to clean. But I also just love the look of it. It's a Turkish rug. It's really beautiful. It brings color. It brings just a bit of that like antique old world feel. And then just one of the final things that we have to do in here, I don't know if you guys can see that light bulb hanging right up here. So I did order a big light fixture to go over top of the island table, and it's not in yet. It keeps getting delayed, so I'm not sure when it will be in, but that's gonna be one of the last final touches. That's probably gonna be it for lighting. There's a chance I might add like a pendant light over the sink at some point, but I just honestly don't think I'm going to really need it. So we'll see. All right, you guys, so that is it for this cottage kitchen update. We are nearing the finish line, but still just lots of little things left to go to really complete this space, but I'm so excited. I cannot wait to really get in here and start cooking once I have a proper refrigerator. And I'm so excited for all the videos to come with, you know, in this space with this beautiful backdrop. I'm just so pleased with how it's all coming together. It's such a weird thing when you are trying to design a space like from scratch and you're picking all these things that you think are gonna make sense and you're like pretty sure are gonna look good, but you don't really know until it's all together. But I'm really happy with the way it's all unfolding. And I just love this space even more each day as it just becomes more and more ours. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Let me know any videos you'd like to see in the future, because I love that feedback. I find it so helpful. Let me know what you think of the kitchen so far, because I love hearing your guys' thoughts. And I know you guys have been, a lot of you have been like pretty invested in this, which I love so much, because I'm obviously like very invested in it and very obsessed with decorating the space. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to follow along, subscribe if you haven't already, so you never miss any of my upcoming videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.